Hello, sixth graders. Today we're going to study evaporation. Okay, we've all seen evaporation happen in our everyday life. If you've ever watched a puddle form in your driveway, and then after a few hours of when the rain stops and the sun comes out, that puddle disappears, right? It doesn't all soak into the ground, some of it evaporates. Or maybe if you're like me, your dog has an outdoor dog bucket for drinking, and that water will eventually decrease even though the dog hasn't drank it all. And that's because evaporation says that water molecules, when they are heated up, they will get far enough apart that they can change from a liquid into a gas and go flying off into the atmosphere. Okay, so we're going to show that. I'm going to show that with a little mini lab here. I've got two baggies of water. Actually, I've got two empty bags right now. I'm going to put some room temperature water into this bag and seal it up so I don't spill all over. Okay, so this is room temperature water. And then I am going to put some warmer water, not too hot because you don't want to melt the bag, into this one. Okay. Seal this one up. All right, now I'm going to put 2 pieces of paper towel over each bag and put a drop of water on each. And we're going to see which one evaporates more quickly. Okay, so this one is the warm water one. This one is the room temperature water one. And we will wait, so I won't make you sit and wait for water to dry. But we'll check back here in just a little bit, okay? So what is happening here, again, I'm going to show you a couple little videos that I think might help you understand this. Okay, so if you play this video, you'll see what I just did. We've got a bag of hot water, and you can see that the molecules, that hot water is making the molecules move more quickly and move further apart. And as they move further apart, they lose their attraction, right? We know that water molecules are sticky. They stick to each other. And so if they're close enough, they will always come together. We learned that when we did the wax, paper, and water lab. And in this case here with the room temperature water bag, it's still evaporating, right? You still have some molecules that are flying off, but it's not happening nearly as quickly, right? Because they are not as far apart. All right, let's go back here. We are going to take a look at these water molecules here in room temperature water. You see that they have 2 motion lines here, and there's a little bit of space in between them, but not much. And right over here, you see that there's 3 motion lines, so they're moving more rapidly, and there's a lot of space. And so when liquids heat up like that, when the space between them gets so great that they lose their attraction, they will change physical states from a liquid into a gas. Okay? We will go here. I'm going to show you. This is an animation of water molecules in a liquid, moving past each other, bumping into each other. These little red balls, they signify an oxygen, and then the 2 white things on there are 2 hydrogens, H2O, 2 hydrogens, one oxygen. Now if we look at water vapor, water vapor is the gas form of liquid water. You see that the molecule is the same. We have 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogens, but there's a lot of space in between these, right? Lots of space. And they're floating around really randomly like gases do. Okay, now what would happen, do you think, if we had this volume of water vapor and we cooled it? What would happen if we refrigerated this water vapor? What do you think would happen to the space in between them and the speed at which they're moving? We're going to talk about that in tomorrow's lab. All right. So here, let me go back to this little lab here because you can see the results of it. You can see here that this warm one is dry and this one is still wet. That is why we put our clothes out on the line outside in the summer or in a clothes dryer, because the heat makes all of that liquid water evaporate and it will dry it out. Our lesson today, or our questions that go along with this lab, are posted in the same format, okay? So you've got a Google form and it walks you through, showing you some animations of what we just did, showing you some animations that we just watched together, showing you some images that we talked about, and having you answer some questions along the way. We are going to make this one due tomorrow, okay? It's a little bit simpler of a lab because you are familiar with evaporation. So I think you should be able to get this done for tomorrow. And tomorrow we are moving on to something called condensation, okay? So if, as you're working on this today, you have questions, please bring those questions with you to class tomorrow and we will address those in our Zoom meeting, okay? I'll talk to you soon.